Hi, I'm Tom Henriksen from the Agile Online Summit, where we bring great Agilists to the world. And welcome to our community spotlight, where we shine the light on the groups that promote the summit. Today we have with us Shaheen from the Lean Agile Network in Toronto. Shaheen, introduce yourself to the people here at the Agile Online Summit.
Hello, everyone. I'm Shaheen. As Tom said, I'm the founder of Lean Agile Network. It used to be called Agile Lunch, and we changed the name in a couple of years back. I'm from Toronto, but now everything is virtual, so you can join Lean Agile Network from everywhere. I'm an Agile coach and recently become an authorized trainer on Kanban and one of the IC Agile trainings. And I'm focusing on, my whole world is focusing around change and how to help with the change at the personal level and organizational level and how to elevate that. And as we know, living in the pandemic, change is always a constant. So you always need someone to guide you and coach you through these changes. So that's me in a nutshell.
Yes, we do need coaching, don't we, Shaheen, with the changes that are kind of thrown at us. But so you said you started the Lean Agile Network. Talk to us about how that kind of came about in that journey you've been on throughout that.
Yeah, so it was 5 or 6 years ago that I was going to different meetups, and all of these meetups were happening after hours. You need to spend after. And at that time, I didn't have that much personal commitments per se. We didn't have kids, and I could spend, but the people that have personal commitments after work, they wouldn't be able to do that. And in core downtown Toronto, there are so many good Agile people that we decided, there was a conversation, we said, why don't we have something around lunch? And the idea came about at one of the meetups to have a meetup around lunchtime. It's very easy for everyone to come to a location, and there's some coordination needed, but we have to have lunch. On Friday, it's typically lighter day, like we can come for lunch for an hour, sit together, have lunch, and we called it Agile Lunch. After doing that, I found out that it's a good idea. People are joining it. At the start, it was a J curve, if you may say, right? At the start, we have so many people join, but by many people, I mean 15 to 20 for the first round. Then for the two next ones that we had 5, and then we had 3. So I dragged one of my friends, and there is only one person joined us. And it was like, oh, this is not happening. People are not joining us. But I kept going at it and kept going at it. I wasn't disappointed. And I guess people saw some value in it, and then they were telling others about it. So we started with just the Google groups. At that time, Meetup was not around, or not that much social media engagement. We have a Google groups that someone need to tell you about Agile Lunch, and you need to be asked to become part of that Google group to know where we are going next. Then we expanded. I was so lucky, and Lean Agile or Agile Lunch were so lucky that we had good people that they came to us and they offered their location. So after meeting for lunch, then we were meeting in a company environment. Sometimes lunch provided, sometimes lunch not provided, but it was around lunchtime, and we had a speaker with those settings. So we were going between having a speaker to come and talk to us at lunchtime, or we bring our own lunch or a lunch provided, and we have a networking event. Then later on, we got into mix those together, and we extended the lunch for an hour and a half. We started at 12. We had a speaker start at 12:05 and 12:55. And for the half an hour, we have a networking event as well. In these times, things have changed. So we are doing all virtually. But that's a very a nutshell history of how we started and where we are at now.
So, Shaheen, I guess when you were meeting, you were still meeting at lunchtime, still doing like the speaker or in networking. Do you have any other parts to your group, or is that the main part?
So we as an agile mindset that we have, we experience with many things. So at some point we brought in the speakers that are new to a speaking engagement. So we wanted to give back opportunity to the community members. Like we didn't always want to bring in like world-class speakers, but there are some people in our community that want to practice that and they have something. So we called it emerging a speaker. We had it once before the pandemic. And then we had the speakers and we had networking, and yeah, those are basically what we had. And when we brought the speakers in, we didn't bring speakers. We brought good people and tell them you have time. You design how you want to facilitate the session. Sometimes they come there and one of our speakers or our guests did an AMA, ask me anything. He didn't come with any like. I'm here. He was a very well-known change person, and there were so many people showed up to ask him something. Sometimes it was around experiment. We did something with experiment at our talk. So sometimes it was hands-on. Sometimes it was you sit and you listen to someone. So we find good people that can bring a value to the community and let them. We trust in them to. Deliver some value to the community, and we let them lead with whatever they have in mind.
So Shaheen, what tips do you have out for other community facilitators out there?
One thing that, like, I have two tips. One is that don't get disappointed. I gave a talk at Agile Alliance 2018 about how to build a community, how to flourish a community with my good friend Sean Button. And we talk about that at some point, if it feels the community is dying down, for a lack of better word, it's a sign and indicator that the community has moved on or they want something else. So you need, as a community leader, find out what they need, or you, as a good community leader, maybe need to step down and let someone that is having a better vision than you lead the community. So it was 2019, I believe, that we started bringing in more speakers around flow and Kanban, which was the need of the communities, because that was the hot topic back then, and it still is a hot topic. But if you are running a community just because running it and don't paying attention to the indications that you are seeing or to the signs that people are giving you, you are not going to be successful at that. And don't get disappointed. It's not hard. It's not easy to find those indications as well. It's pretty much hard because, for example, the community that we have is more than 2,000 people, and then you send out a survey, you might not get that many people that are replying back. So you are getting a sample of these 2,000 people. Based on that sample, how do you know where to get your community is not an easy task, an easy job. But the more you get to know the community and try to be, so this is what we used to do when we had in person. So when everyone was coming to the community and it was their first time, we personally thanked them and we personally welcomed them to the community. It wasn't like, oh, we are here and you guys are coming, these are you and we are there. So we are thanking them, please join us, please come again. And we made them feel, I hope that we made them felt welcome home. So and that's how we kept the community growing.
Yeah, I like that, Shaheen, that personal touch of if someone shows up, you're welcoming them, making them feel welcome, because I know just from going to different groups and things, if you're kind of a nameless person, that's one thing. You don't know if you're going to come back. But if you were the, facilitator and you said, hey, thanks, Tom, that's, I'm guessing they're more likely to show up again the next time you have a get together. So I really like that touch there. So you mentioned earlier, Shaheen, we're kind of living in some interesting times. We're living during a pandemic. So talk to us kind of how you have kind of switched things up in your group.
Yeah, so as I said, we used to meet at lunchtime, but because of these pandemics and especially the first couple of months that everyone was struggling to find how to work online, right? And with some of the companies in Toronto, you don't have that much infrastructure for everyone to work online. So people are used to work like from 5 in the morning to 7 or even beyond that. So they didn't find time to go for a lunch event. So we kept it at a lunchtime time for 2 months, March and April. But then we got some feedback that maybe we should move it after. So it was great that Joanna Rothman, our speaker, one of the great thought leaders of Agile, she accepted that we do an experiment, and for her talk, we moved it to the afternoon, like after we had it at 7 p.m. Eastern time, and people showed up, and it was like, oh, it's an experiment. We don't know if it's going to be successful or not, but we are not scared of running that. So nowadays we are running things every other week. We used to run things. We used to run events on a monthly basis. Now we are running it every other week, like in every month twice. One is going to be a kind of a lean coffee, kind of more like a networking. People want to come and talk about what they have. So this is to give back to the community. And one event would be that we are bringing a speaker, or we are bringing a person to facilitate something for us. And that's typically on a Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern time, so that it could be 12 lunchtime for Pacific time, or it's on a Thursday at 6 or 7 p.m., depending on the speaker availability. And we found those times worked best for us, for our group. So so that's how we pivot from having one speaker, because these days, if you have something to say, you don't need a community to go and say, hey, would you please accept me as a speaker? Like if, Tom, you have a great thing to say, and you know that better than me, you can just have a Zoom account and just put something on LinkedIn and Twitter, and people will sign up for that. So you don't need like, for example, a community of 5,000 people to say we have Tom as our speaker. He can do it himself, right? So now the mindset has changed. What are we bringing to the community? So we focus more on the networking side and focus more on do not, if we don't get good speakers, so always we wanted to get world-class speakers and help back the community. So we are not pivoting from that, and if at some point like we are not bringing anything to the community, that's fine. Like at some point the community needs to move on and become something else, right? And then we get to that point.
Yeah, Shaheen, I like how you point out that the groups are not static. Right. They don't stay in one place. They're not always interested in the same topics. So that's really, as Agilists, that's an important thing we need to understand, right? We need to inspect and adapt and change. And maybe, like you mentioned, maybe the leader needs to step aside or bring in other people to help. So I think that's really good. Shaheen, any closing thoughts?
Any closing thoughts? Yeah, one thing that I want to tell everyone, it's not related to community or anything else. Find your passion and go for that. When I met the community, the Agile community helped me a lot. I always feel that I need to give back, and that's what I'm doing with the community. But if your passion is not about Agile, it's about something else. I know an Agile coach that she found her passion is helping people after being burned out at work. So now she moved all the way from an Agile world into help finding people that are burned out or have challenges, and she found her passion and her niche. So look for that. If you find your passion, the work that you are doing is become fun, and it's not overtime anymore. It's not someone pressuring you to do something and delivering that, but it's become like I'm enjoying that, and you don't feel the length of time. Don't find your passion too much that you lose sight of your personal life. That's another thing. So have a balance between your passion as a professional and bring it to your personal life. That's instead of pushing your personal life. That's another thing that I learned. So that's my closing thought. I hope that helps people.
Very good, Shaheen. Very good. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you, Tom, for having me.
On behalf of Shaheen, I am Tom Henriksen for the Agile Online Summit.